Nikola Tesla, inventor of the death ray, died in January 1943. The FBI took possession of his notes and his papers and his documents. After World War II, Operation Overcast was a U.S. program to employ Nazi regime scientists in U.S. laboratories. Operation Overcast was later renamed Operation Paperclip. The National Security Act, passed in 1947, created the Central Intelligence Agency and made possible the rise of the military-industrial complex to increase opportunities for scientific experiments to be conducted without public knowledge or congressional oversight. In 1958, the military announced they were experimenting on the ionosphere with electronic beams for the purpose of manipulating the weather. In 1962, respected meteorologist Harry Wexler proposed geoengineering strategies to warm the planet. In 1963, the National Academy of Scientists proposed formation of a panel to create a national weather and climate modification program. In 1966, plans to warm the Arctic were abandoned without comment, to be replaced with warnings that carbon dioxide was already causing the atmosphere to get warmer. This video introduces the article called Global Warming Linked to Advanced Climate Change Technology. The title sounds provocative, but NASA has concluded that man-made persistent contrails are exacerbating global warming and could contribute to long-term changes in Earth's climate. The article explores the forgotten history of America's National Weather and Climate Modification Program, still in existence, and how it rapidly evolved into a military and civilian weather warfare program of mass destruction. The documentation and subsequent critique reveals a program that went into rapid mission creep when the military became involved. The critique was drafted in 1986 by a member of the Union of Atomic Scientists. The record shows that industrialists and their scientists have been looking for ways to warm the Arctic for 100 years, beginning in 1877, when Harvard geologist Nathaniel Shaler proposed diverting warm Atlantic water into the Arctic Sea. Decades of Arctic warming proposals followed, until 1962, when respected MIT meteorologist Harry Wexler proposed 3 schemes to increase the global temperature by 1.7 degrees Celsius. Number 1. Detonate 10 hydrogen bombs in the Arctic Ocean to send ice crystals into the polar atmosphere. Number 2. Destroy the ozone layer by using aircraft to spray chlorine and bromine into the stratosphere. Number 3. Launch dust particles into equatorial orbit to diffuse light in order to heat up and warm the polar regions. These ideas sound pretty frightening today, but in 1962, Wexler's ideas were gaining traction, and nobody important was calling him a lunatic. But following Wexler's untimely death that same year, the problem of how to warm the planet completely reversed polarity. Suddenly, and without explanation, it was now imperative to find ways to cool the planet to keep the atmosphere from warming. The U-turn in national direction came about when a paper was published by oceanographer Roger Revelle, who claimed Earth's atmosphere was warming due to a buildup of carbon dioxide from burning coal back during the industrial age. The new narrative became official for media consumption in 1966, when Gordon MacDonald, who was chairman of the new ICUS Select Panel on Weather and Climate Modification, stated, quote, carbon dioxide placed in the atmosphere since the start of the Industrial Revolution has produced an increase in the average temperature of the lower atmosphere a few tenths of a degree Fahrenheit, unquote. Wexler's proposals to warm the planet were never mentioned again, but remained quietly popular with stakeholders in the oil and energy markets who had always seen vast opportunities for new shipping lanes and drilling as soon as the ice melted a bit. In view of NASA's position that man-made persistent contrails are exacerbating global warming, what are we to think? If these man-made clouds are normal water vapor, we have a problem that accelerates global warming. But if the problem can be fixed and no government authority has yet thought it was important enough to take immediate action, we can reasonably assume that warming the climate with persistent contrails is a tolerable or even desired outcome. But if man-made clouds are revealed to be chemical aerosols deliberately sprayed into the atmosphere, we can reasonably assume that heating the atmosphere is a hidden agenda inside a covert aerosol operation that mimics the appearance of a geoengineering plan to cool the planet. In reality, the chemical aerosol operations provide plausible deniability to spectators that our benevolent government is secretly spraying the skies to test ways to mitigate global warming for the good of humanity. This plausible deniability is taught to us through media coverage of geoengineers like David Keith, who present aerosol cooling strategies in frequent public appearances that are in turn presented as news in multiple media outlets. So the agenda to warm the planet is cleverly hidden in plain sight, disguised as an undisclosed but benevolent government program to test aerosol spraying, to cool the planet if we should ever decide it becomes necessary. Meanwhile, Arctic ice continues to retreat despite decades of so-called testing. Aerosols are not the sole requirement in advanced climate change technology. High-energy ionospheric heaters, Tesla arrays, and exotic electromagnetic devices are required to interact with chemical aerosols in ways that normal water vapor contrails never could. The full article is in the comments section. Just click on the link.